I was really happy, her mom was really happy, and Amanda felt really proud. So Amanda's off to a great start in growing out of this educational anxiety and learning to be a good presenter and a better student in English class and to handle her ADHD better. Amanda struggled with ADHD, public speaking, and essay writing, but was getting A's in all of her other classes. I want to read to you my assessment from her first session. Amanda and I discussed her experience in English class. She's required to present her material to the class weekly. Her classmates reliably laugh at her when she makes a mistake. She says she gets really nervous, shaky, and sometimes forgets how to read. Researchers call this educational anxiety. However, her anxiety has started to bleed over into all her work in English class, which leads her to procrastinate. This is because the parts of the brain for anxiety, short-term memory, paying attention, prioritizing tasks are all interrelated. If we train Amanda to handle all of these tasks together, she'll be more capable in English and will start to see the changes that she needs. So here's the Harvard research article from the Harvard Center on the Developing Child. The name of the article is entitled Executive Function and Self-Regulation. Most parents and all students, they've heard of executive function, kind of, sort of. They've heard of self-regulation, kind of, sort of. But this is the first article that really puts them together. I'll just read a couple of choice excerpts. So when children have the opportunities to develop executive function and self-regulation skills, individuals and society experience lifelong benefits because these skills are crucial for learning and for development. They also enable positive behavior that allow us to make healthy choices. So right away, they're putting the ability to learn together with positive choices and regulating behavior. Executive function and self-regulation skills depend on three types of brain functioning. That is our working memory, our mental flexibility, and our self-control. All these areas of the brain are interrelated. Imagine the tracts, which are kind of like the nerves in the brain, going from one place to another. You have the area for behavior control, and the tracts from that one are crossing over into the working memory, into the reactions and responses, and down into the emotions. And so you have one tract, one nerve that's being used for all 3 or 4 areas. So you can see how interrelated they are. You have to work on all of these things together. So when a student is having difficulty prioritizing tasks, managing time, difficulty with procrastination, they're likely operating at a pretty high level of stress or anxiety. This is called the window of tolerance, and if someone is pushing or exceeding their window of tolerance at the time, it becomes very, very unlikely that they're going to be able to sit down, pay attention, apply themselves to the work, start and finish the job. Again, working memory governs our ability to retain and manipulate information over short periods of time. Very important when you're studying or writing. Mental flexibility helps us to sustain or shift our attention in response to different demands or to apply different rules in different settings. You have one professor or one teacher who wants your papers written a little bit differently than the one you had last year. You have to be able to shift the rules. You have to be mentally flexible. And then self-control enables us to set priorities and to resist impulsive actions or responses. And now I want to read to you Amanda's mother's response. So I sent these assessment notes to her along with the article from Harvard and one other research article explaining educational anxiety. And her response was really sweet. She says, "Thank you, Kim. This is so thorough and helpful. It all makes sense to me, and I'm definitely in agreement with your approach." So this is an open-minded parent who has an open learning mindset, growth mindset. And I know this because she started the conversation with me by saying, "Can you recommend some books that Amanda could read over the summertime? I think this is really the direction that she needs to go in order to help her in English." And when I came back with, yes, books are very helpful. Of course, like always, it's always helpful to read and learn. But I found some other things in my assessment that I want you to be aware of, and then brought her up to date on what I found. She was totally on board, which is not always the case. So I'm really grateful. Amanda's really grateful, and also the parent is really grateful. So it's been 2 sessions. Amanda is already making progress. She couldn't write even 1 or 2 sentences in the beginning because she just procrastinated. It was stressful for her. I gave her a few exercises to do for self-awareness and gave her a very small, tiny ask, which was to simply start writing one day, to start writing every day, 5-6 days out of the week. I didn't expect her to do any days, quite frankly, because most students do only 1 day or sometimes 0 days the first 1, 2, or even 3 weeks before they start to get ahead of steam. And the following week, Amanda came back and she had 5 paragraphs written. I, of course, always allow students to write about things that they're excited about. She wrote about Terraria, this game that she loves. I don't know anything about it, but I was really happy. Her mom was really happy, and Amanda felt really proud. So Amanda's off to a great start in growing out of this educational anxiety and learning to be a good presenter and a better student in English class, and to handle her ADHD better. I do want to bring up one thing, which is that children who grow up in environments where they suffer from ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, these can be everything from, long-term, although mild neglect, where the parents are working too much and the child doesn't see them very much at all. I was a latchkey kid, I know what that's like. Or other kinds of adverse childhood experiences, such as abuse or violence. They often don't have the skills to self-regulate, and therefore don't have the skills to practice short-term memory, prioritization, etc. They can learn, however. So all children, regardless of their history, regardless of their experiences, they all have the potential to develop these skills. No child really is born with these skills, right? You don't just have them. You develop them through modeling, seeing other children around you model them, seeing your parents model them, and through having an environment which feels reliable and secure. And that's where our job as teachers and tutors comes in, is to help the child develop executive functioning skills and self-regulation skills, so that both of those skills start to become really strong. If you need tutoring, you know where to find me, either through my website or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm at compassionatelearning.net. And my Instagram handle will be linked along with my website in the notes down below. Take care.